This is the Abarth 500e, and it's a new electric car which prioritises one thing over all else. And it's a thing that is sorely missing from the EV space right now. A little bit of fun. It's mean, it's green, it's fast, and it makes some very silly noises. Yesterday I was at the international press launch for this car in Turin, and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this angry little snot rocket. I'm Jack, and this is the Fully Charged Show.
Like the Fully Charged Show? Then you will love our 6 live shows being held around the world in 2023, starting with Sydney, Australia on March the 11th and 12th.
So, Abarth 500e. Actually, before we get into the car, just a quick bit of context regarding this slightly strange format for the video today. I was there, but I didn't film it there. I'm filming now, and the reason for that is because Andy, cameraman Andy, has a wounded hand. He's injured himself filming content for your enjoyment. Andy, show them your claw. Poor Andy. Do leave a comment down below saying, Andy, we appreciate your hard work. On the flip side, let us know if you enjoy this format, because if you do, we could fire him.
There's 2 cars. There's a million Italian press wanting to do their little piece to camera. Someone's getting punched in a second.
So, Abarth 500e, what are we working with here? Well, it's the first electric car from Fiat's in-house Scorpion-badged skunkworks, based of course on the charming Fiat 500 electric, and arriving sometime in the middle of next year. Abarth, for those of you potentially not aware, have been souping up little Fiat since 1969 and doing so with a real sense of humour. This is a company much more interested in making you giggle hysterically than shaving tenths off lap times. Take the 1966 Abarth 695 SS, for example. Look at this thing. I have shoes bigger than this car. My favourite thing about it is Abarth couldn't quite manage to cram in their special new engine, so they just left it like this, with the boot bolted open. It's mad! Of course, there is no engine here with the new Abarth 500 electric, and this poses an interesting question. How on earth does a brand best known for fizzy, angry little engines translate its DNA into a silent electric car? Well, as it turns out, not silently.
Right, so this is quite exciting. We're at the Fiat factory, Lingotto. This is the spiritual home of Fiat. Just over there, on the roof, is the famous oval test track from the Italian job. And just down here, in a few moments, the Abarth 500 electric is going to be revealed to the world. And they've chosen this exact spot because the car is going to drive down here, around here, and then be shown to us for the first time. And they've chosen this exact spot because they want us to hear it before we see it. They are pushing this synthetic sound malarkey quite hard. Oh, I hope it sounds good.
So, what does the Abarth 500e sound like? Listen to this. Yep, that's right. They've made it sound like a petrol engine. What you're hearing there is the optional sound generator, which emits, quote, an unmistakable Abarth roar, which faithfully reproduces the sound of an Abarth petrol engine. But wait, there's more, because when you fire up the Abarth 500 for the first time, you will hear guitar music play. And when you exceed 12 miles per hour for the first time, it emits a rock and roll guitar chord. Listen to this. I'd be interested to hear in the comments what you guys think of this noise. Personally, I'm really open to the idea of EVs emitting noise. I think noise is part of the experience of driving, and in a sporty car, it can add something. However, the only thing that I don't want it to sound like is a petrol engine. You've got the entire spectrum of sound available to you. BMW commissioned Hans Zimmer to do like a funky synth chord. That's much more interesting than just playing engine noise. That's just my opinion.
Man's in the bonnet. Now he's going to be arrested. Go to jail, sir.
Let's get into some nitty-gritty and some specs. The Abarth 500 electric will come with a 42 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's the bigger pack that you can have in the Fiat 500 electric. Now in the Fiat, that gets you about 150 miles of real world range. Given that the Abarth is a little bit more powerful, you can expect that range number to drop a little bit. And truthfully, that strikes me as the right size of battery for this car. Any more than that and it would just be heavy and cumbersome and it would affect the handling. Any smaller and this car would be limited to the confines of the city, which would be criminal in a car that is likely going to be really good fun on a twisty B road. Likewise, I feel a really good balance has been struck with the power. This car comes with a single motor feeding power to the front wheels for a total of 149 brake horsepower, meaning a 0 to 62 time of around 7 seconds. That to me is perfect. It's almost exactly the same as the petrol-powered Abarth. So often these days we're seeing EV brands giving their electric cars hundreds of horsepower for no apparent reason. It just means that you can't use them and enjoy them on public roads. This to me is the perfect amount of power for a spicy little hot hatchback. Incidentally, Abarth says that the 500e will go around a track slightly faster than its ICE counterpart thanks to a wider track, longer wheelbase and superior weight distribution, all amounting to improved handling. Now, personally, I don't give a stuff about tenths of seconds around a track in a car like this. I'm much more interested in how it feels than how fast it is. And we're going to have to wait till next year to find that out for ourselves. But it was very noticeable in the presentation for this car, the amount of times the word fun was emphasized. This really is a car that prioritizes enjoyment over maximum performance. And frankly, if this car is half as good to drive as it is to look at, we've got a winner on our hands. This is a squat, mean, stancy little hot hatchback. Love those 18-inch alloys that are unique to the Abarth 500e. I mean, look at this badge. Look at this new badge design for this car. It's so wonderfully silly and over the top. Likewise, the launch color, acid green. What other car could pull this off? The first 1,949 cars will come in this trim. This is called Scorpionissima. This is kind of like the launch car with all the boxes checked on the spec sheet, so it'll have the fixed glass sunroof and the big wheels and the posh sound system. 1,949 cars, because Abarth has been going since 1949. Fun fact. This will of course be followed by less spec'd, cheaper variants, and it's worth noting Abarth strongly alluded to there being faster, more focused versions of this car to follow, an Abarth 595e perhaps. I did manage to have a quick look inside before an Italian journalist elbowed me in the face, and it looks equally racy in there. Lots of Alcantara on the dash, on the steering wheel, Seabelt bucket seats, just like the ICE Abarth. It's a racy little thing. We're a little bit light on specs at the moment. We don't have an official range figure. We don't know the price just yet, although given that the big battery Fiat 500 is about 30 grand, I think we can safely assume that this is going to be somewhere in the region of 34, 35 would be my guess. So not cheap, but certainly makes it one of the more affordable performance EVs that you can buy right now. Anyway, over to Turin Jack for some final thoughts on this car.
Right, I'm going to take a quick break from my new favourite hobby of watching Italian journalists walk across each other's shops and almost get into fights to share a thought on this day, on this presentation, because there's something that the CEO of Fiat Abarth said today that really stood out to me. He called that car the anti-EV EV. He said, we're not doing this because of climate change. We're not doing this to save the planet. We're doing this simply because EVs are more fun. Now, that's obviously not true. They are 100% doing this because they have to. All car brands have to do this. Moreover, EV isn't more fun. If we're being really honest, we are yet to figure out how to make an electric car feel as fizzy and exciting and engaging as a really characterful ICE powered car. But that's exactly why we need Abarth involved in electrification, jumping in with both feet, bringing their own brand of wacky, silly nonsense into the fold. I welcome Abarth's arrival on the EV scene because they're going to do things very differently. And potentially that means acid green paint and silly fake engine noises, but it may well also mean really exciting dynamics and really engaging handling and a car that just makes you smile all the time. I can't wait to drive it.
So there we go, a speedy first look at the Abarth 500 electric. I am so excited that cars like this are joining the EV world. A bright green, thuggish looking, angry, silly electric hot hatchback. Inject it into my veins. I can't wait to drive this thing. Do let me know, what are your first impressions of the Abarth 500e? Do you like it? Are you excited for it? What do you think of that very, very green colour? Please make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have been, thank you for watching.